Hello everybody and welcome to another Wacky Lamps Live. Now you may be wondering why I'm live at this time on a Sunday, because normally I go live at 5 p.m. UK time, but it's different this morning because we are not going to be basing ourselves in the UK. We're going to be basing ourselves in wonderful Australia, where we'll be meeting my special guest Cindy Porter, the wonderful animal artist, very, very shortly. So hopefully, and I'm looking down the list now, I'm getting people joining me that I don't normally get on a Sunday because I'm earlier. Now, yes, so it is time difference, and I couldn't ask Cindy to get up in the middle of the night to appease me over here in the UK. So I thought it would be wonderful to have it a little bit earlier. And I mean, it means that you folks that probably don't get to see me live have a chance of getting the first live showing of my 12 o'clock spot for this 1 week only. So there's not a lot been going on in the lamping world, my world of Wacky Lamps in the last week, because to drone on about it, we are moving house and it is becoming a constant battle with boxes all around us and everything else. So we have sort of put the lamp making on one side at the moment, just whilst we get ourselves all sorted. You don't know exactly when we're moving house, but hopefully it's going to be the beginning of August. So behind me you can see some of my latest creations. So I have those as a backdrop, just to remind me what I should be doing, which is down the workshop making lamps. But my workshop at the moment is full of boxes of me sorting out what do I really want to keep, what will make the journey with me to Wales, which is the country we're moving to. I say country, it's a part of the United Kingdom. I have to remember that a lot of people that listen to me are not in the United Kingdom, so they'll be confused to where I'm going. Well, Wales is a little devolved dependency part of the United Kingdom. It is a separate country in its own right, but it's about three hours drive away. And it is like going back in time. It would be wonderful. Anyway, so I've got no news really to tell you today, other than that we have a wonderful guest today. We have Cindy Porter, and Cindy is waiting in Melbourne, Australia. So let me go through. Let me see if Cindy... Can we go to Melbourne? Can we join Cindy? And the answer is yes, I hope we can. And there we are. Look at that.
Hi.
Good morning, Cindy. How you doing?
Good. Good evening.
Oh, yeah, good evening. Of course, it's evening for you, isn't it?
It is.
No.
And of course, who's heard your voice? But
we
has come to join.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
I think it might be my headphones, but it's a little bit quiet. You're a little bit quiet. So I don't know whether it's my headphones or it's... let me try turning myself up on the side here.
Mine.
Oh, no, it was me. It was my headphones had gone. The volume had dropped off.
Okay.
There we are. So Henry's come to join us, has he?
He has.
Oh,
I do.
bless him. Hello, fella. Yes, we'll talk about my sort of empathetic bond with Henry in a little while. But anyway, Cindy, just tell us a little bit about where you are, first of all.
Where I am, Melbourne,
yes.
Australia. It's after 9 o'clock at night here, so it's the end of my day. So hopefully I'm not looking too tired.
No, you're looking fresh as a daisy. For those people that don't know Australia, whereabouts are we geographically in Australia?
Probably the furthest place on the globe away from you guys.
Yeah. Whereabouts in Australia? Whereabouts around?
Okay.
Yeah.
I am down the east coast, down the bottom.
Right. And it's, let me get it right, you're heading, or are you in winter yet?
We are in winter, full on in winter, believe me, it's cold.
So
it's lucky I'm not wearing my hoodie. I thought about wearing my hoodie, but I thought it's not overly stylish.
For those of you who don't know, an hoodie is this wonderful, it's sort of a clothing hug, isn't it? We've all got them.
It is.
Now, by cold, you don't really mean cold, do you? What's temperature thereabouts?
It's currently it's about 5 degrees Celsius here.
You think that's cold?
So you love it,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, for us it's cold. We
Yeah,
don't get that much colder than that. I mean, we do get down to 0 and occasionally just below 0
right.
here in Melbourne, but not much more. For me,
Right.
that's damn cold. I'm not used to that.
But for you, of course, it's never too cold to paint, is it? Let's be honest.
No, true.
And
Paint in
I
any
can
weather.
see every time I see you, whether it's on a Bloom's call, whether it's on a call we make, you're always surrounded by your art, which is a joy. Obviously, it brings you a lot of joy as well, doesn't it?
It does. Brings a smile to my face.
I know, and it does to everybody else that sees it, because your approach to your art is very different to other people, because you're ostensibly an animal artist, aren't you? That's what you're known for. That's what you're well known for. But not.
Yeah.
You don't paint animals in the same way, the same colours perhaps as other people would paint them.
No. A lot of the time I paint them in the colours that I see them in, which I suppose that makes me sound crazy, but that's okay.
No, not at all.
I like we talk about people have their aura colors and things like that. I see the animals in different colors. Not all the time, which is why you'll see some paintings in natural colors as well.
Yeah.
But often I will see a animal or a photograph of an animal, and I will see a color associated with that. So I will paint them in that color.
That's what I was going to ask. At what point do you see that color? But it's if you see a photograph, because you've got to your right over your shoulder, you see George there, the gorilla.
Yes.
Green gorilla. Now, I know you well enough now to know that you haven't been on any medication, you haven't been on anything you should be. George and I always see George as a green gorilla. But when you painted him, at what point did you see that he should be green, and it was natural to you that he was going to be green?
George is from a photograph that a friend of mine took, and she lets me use any of her photographs. She does a lot of photography and takes a lot of pictures of animals. She goes to a lot of the zoos and things like that. So she's a great source of inspiration for me. George is one of the photos she took, that she passed on to me. And I didn't see him green until I was getting prepared to paint him. So the photograph just looked normal to me. Like I actually have a picture I've printed out here. Like this at the moment, this blue healer just looks normal colors. Until I get ready to get the paints out and I sit down and I start to think about how I'm going to do it and prepare for it and everything, that's when the color will either come to me or it won't. So,
and is it like a sudden, I'm just fascinated by this. Is it a sudden thing, or do you just find yourself reaching for a particular color and it's sort of natural?
I tend to study the photograph. If I'm painting from a photograph, I'll study the photograph. Because I like to look for all the little detail and everything, because I'm really fascinated by the face details and the eyes in particular and all of that. So I'll spend a bit of time actually studying the photograph or the pictures. Sometimes I'll blow them up bigger so that I can get closer look at the detail and stuff like that. And it's while I'm doing that the colors come to me.
Let's take you back a bit, because we jumped in straight, because I love to talk about your art. But let's go back a few years as to when Cindy Porter started her art journey. Can you remember the first time you picked up a paintbrush or a pencil and started to draw or paint?
I was a kid.
You're a kid.
I was little. I was a kid. Growing up, I can remember wanting to learn anything and everything creative with my hands. I was fascinated by it all. I did things like painted the back of my bedroom door. I painted the front of one of Mum's fridge.
Did she know you were going to do that?
Oh yeah, no, the fridge broke down. Like, this fridge was old and it broke down, but she did not want to get rid of it because of the painting that I'd done on the front of the fridge.
So this has always been a
I
thing
painted
then?
an Aussie Outback sunset on there, and she loved it.
And how
Yeah,
old
so
were
it's
you when
always
you did
been
that?
there.
How old would you be when you did that?
That one I was probably only about 12.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I would have been about 12. I painted the lounge room wall with an aquarium with all tropical fish in it. I was probably about 16 then, by the time I did that. Yeah.
Your parents must have
But
saved a
then,
fortune on decorating bills then. Just bring in
I
Cindy.
guess
We've got the
I
ceiling
thought
doing.
about it.
Oh, we'll have the Sistine Chapel. Can you do that for us, Cindy?
Never thought about it like that, but yeah.
Well, no, but it's brilliant, though. Brilliant.
Yeah. But then, life takes over. Like, you finish high school. I went off and did nurse training and everything. So, that put a stop to the art. And I followed that medical career for many years.
I find that happens with a lot of people. A lot of people early on don't see art as a career because quite often we're told at school, oh no, art isn't a career. You need to be in one of the recognised careers. I know one of our great friends, Sammy Hector Andrews, is the most amazing abstract artist. Much the same. She went into nursing, put the art aside, and has only picked it up fairly recently. But and is that what happened to you? Did you suddenly get an epiphany later on to take up your art again, or was it something that happened?
Well, mine is a bit more like this. So I did my nursing and worked as a nurse for quite a number of years. I stopped working as a nurse when I got injured and went into medical admin because that's sort of the less strenuous offshoot of what I was doing. My husband got injured and I left that to care for him and got sort of roped into owning and opening a craft store.
How can you get roped into owning and opening a craft store?
Do you really want to hear the whole story?
Well, it's interesting. People are going to say, how does someone get roped in? Will you just come and open and own this art store for us? Tell us more. Come on.
Well, it's like this. There were 3 ladies who were going to open this craft store. And I knew one of them. And she had asked if I would like to, at that stage I was doing photography on the side of doing my looking after Bill. And she had asked if I'd like to run my photography studio from the store. So I said yes. 2 weeks later, one of the ladies pulls out and they asked if I would like to be involved. To fill the spot, since I'm going to be there. So I felt like I was roped in.
Well, yeah, but in a nice way.
Yeah. 4 weeks later, the lady I knew pulled out. Left me in business with a woman I just met.
Right. So, yeah.
12 months later, that woman pulls out. I was the only one standing.
Wow.
I ran that business for 10 years.
Wow. Wonderful. And you mentioned there at the start of that story that you're a photographer as well.
Yeah.
So that obviously goes hand in hand with the animal side of it, and you're in the right country. Yeah. So everything sort of conspired, the universe conspired to put you in the right place, the right time. Everybody else buggered off and left you in control of the art business. Brilliant. And at that time, were you doing painting and photography, or just photography?
Well, what happened was running the business took up all the time. So the photography went by the wayside pretty much because I didn't have time to do it. I was busy running classes, like paper craft classes and very basic art classes and things like that. So that took up all my time. I didn't have time for anything else.
So you could turn your hand to quite a few different crafts then. I'm learning things about you now that I never knew.
Yeah, you should see my house. It is full of, you name the craft, I've probably done it.
Oh, one day we'll do a guided tour around your place. Yeah, Bill can hold the camera.
Yeah, seriously, there's everything here from sculpting to porcelain dolls to China painting to
wow. I didn't know your depth of talent was that.
Like, oh yeah,
but you ultimately have settled on mainly on the artwork that we can see behind you and that type of artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Was that because of your deep love of animals, or how did it come about?
The painting, getting back into painting and finding that real love of painting again, that came about again when my husband was unwell, very unwell. It was I got back into painting as a way to switch off while he was in the hospital, and he was in there for a long time. So by the time he came home and everything, I was really in a routine of painting regularly and got right back into that. And I've just kept that up ever since. The painting the animals came about because of my love of the animals, and it's just got stronger and stronger as time's gone on. And like even now I'm looking at doing even more things with animals, and yeah. But
as with a lot of people who have times in their life that are struggling, whether it's illness, art becomes a therapy then, doesn't it? It becomes something that,
absolutely,
it's something, and we all, if ever I feel down, yep, I'll go down into the workshop and just put anything together. Just it's yep, that therapy you get from that. And thankfully to say, absolutely, in case people are wondering, Phil is fine now, isn't he? He's back to,
he is absolutely fine. He's 100% health. Everything is fabulous. Yes, we should say that. Yes, and he has been good for quite some time.
And he's very supportive of what you do, isn't he? I know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is vital, isn't it, with anybody that does crafting or art or anything. Like Steph and I together, we feed off one another, and I support her, she supports me. It's lovely to know that Bill is the same with you and your art.
Yeah. I think anybody who is creative needs to have somebody who's supportive of that passion in their life. For sure.
So you're also very fortunate in that you volunteer at the local zoo, don't you?
I do.
Lucky person. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of you.
It's so cool. It's an awesome environment to be in, and just to, like, I mean, who wouldn't want to go there anytime they want, walk around and just talk to people about animals? Because that's what I get to do. You know? It's like,
I know, it's lovely. And is this Melbourne Zoo, is it, or?
This is Werribee Zoo.
Werribee Zoo, yeah. And presumably all sorts of animals there?
Yes, this one here, this is Kalinda. She is our cheetah from Werribee Zoo. She is adorable. Probably my favorite animal at Werribee Zoo. And I've painted quite a few of her now. She's a real sweetheart. But yeah, it's an open range zoo. So we have like a large savanna area where there are rhinos and there are giraffes and zebras and elands and oryxes and all sorts of deer species and ostrich and everything, just wandering around, and like it's awesome.
You do know at some point, Steph and I will be coming over to see you in Melbourne, so we will expect a guided tour around
absolutely.
That zoo. You know,
personal guided tour all the way.
Now, it's a silly question to say where did your inspiration come from for your animals? Obviously from the zoo, but where does the process start then? And I know that you said in the past that you do commissions, but if somebody comes to you and says, here's a picture of an animal that I've taken on holiday, can you paint it? How does the process go? Where do you start and how does it build?
Well, first I've got to get the photo.
Yeah, you get a photo.
Yeah, I will usually ask if I have more than just that photo. because
Right.
it's a lot easier to get a good detailed painting if I have more than one picture, of course. But from there, yeah, I study the images. I talk to them about what they want, because not everybody likes a green gorilla. Some people want it in the colors that they can see. So it's important to establish that boundary first up. You know, do they want me to paint what I see, or do they want me to paint what they see? And then, yeah, I just start.
What is fascinating on your social media, particularly Instagram, are your time lapse. Every day I see this here. Oh, it's great, because you recently did this 100-day project where you did a different. I did. And you could watch them, and I implore anybody that wants to see what you do, speed it up. It's amazing, because just when I think it's finished, you're there again, adding a bit more, and more depth and more life comes out of the painting. So obviously you love doing that. You love showing people your process.
Yeah, I find it fun. Like, you know, most of those videos are, you know, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. I think the longest is like 30 seconds. And that can be anywhere up to, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 hours of painting.
Yeah,
Condensed down to that.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is
But so you just have the camera on all the time.
Making those videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally, when I work now, I have 2 cameras going. I've got my webcam going, so that's recorded in normal time, and then I have my iPad recording at Hyperlapse. So it's those Hyperlapse ones that I just can then, you know, upload and quick and easy. And I keep the other ones if I need something more.
Yeah, and I think people love to see that, because when people buy art, they buy from the artist. They buy a piece of the artist, and if you're doing a piece of somebody and they can see it being created, there's something quite special about that, because there's something more personal about it than just buying it when it's completed. I always, and I've learned more over the last 2 or 3 years about appreciating how much you do buy a piece of the artist when you buy and work, because it's just, you know, it makes it that much more special. And to say that you've spoken to the artist, and now in these days of social media, it's so easy, so much easier to speak to an artist. Especially if, of course, you come to one of our Bloom shows, then you can speak to every artist.
You can really get to know us if you come to the Bloom show.
Yeah. So now we're going to move tack a little bit, and I'll start the next piece of our conversation off by showing everybody this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Look at that. Now, yes, that is a Black Panther, but it's more than just a Black Panther, because this is my spirit guide animal, or spirit animal guide. And we will talk about how this came about right now with Cindy, because apart from being the most amazing animal artist, you're also an Akashic Records guide and spirit animal guide. Now, for people that don't know anything about this, give us, if you can, in a nutshell, what both of these areas are to do with, so that people can get their head around it before we move on in more detail.
I'll probably blow people's heads up, but anyway.
That's all right. Sunday lunchtime over here. It's evening over there. People can stand it, you know. Good morning to the 36, folks. We're here for a nice spiritual ride.
Okay. So the Akashic Record is the energetic record of a person's soul over all lifetimes. Past, present, future, everything is recorded there energetically. So as an Akashic Records guide, what I can do is I can guide people to the Akashic Records to have a look at a past life, a past experience, a future life, life between lives, any of that. All of that is recorded in the Akashic Records. So anybody has access to that, okay? Anybody, me, you, anybody. It's just most people are unaware of how to do it.
I see.
And that's where being guided helps. So somebody like me, who is now trained and certified, can actually help guide anybody to look at their Akashic records and find out whatever they might need to know. And it can be very helpful.
Is it something
like
that
healing.
Is it something that people may ask you specifically for a specific part of that? I'm just trying to get my head around what would prompt people to want to do that. Is it because they want to change their life, or is it they want to find out more about? I don't know. I'm fascinated. I know you've got to be open-minded about this. A lot of people are.
You do.
I'm very open-minded, and I'm just fascinated by it.
You do. Any and all of the above is the answer to that. Okay. Some people will come because they have a specific problem in their life right now that makes no sense and they can't get to the bottom of, and they're stuck with, and they're stuck on this particular issue. So we can look for a reason for that, that it may be something that's carried over from a past life into this current incarnation.
Yeah.
So then if we go back and we can heal it in the past and cut the ties to that, then it can solve the problem in the present. Some people want insight into why they're petrified of spiders or snakes for no logical reason. This was me myself. I was always petrified of snakes, like crazy petrified. If I saw a photograph of a snake, I would freak out. Like,
you're in the wrong
really
country now, aren't you?
Exactly. Exactly. Definitely the wrong country. Oh my goodness. So yeah, this was something that I discovered there had been an issue in a past life. Very, very terrifying experience in the past, which had passed over into this lifetime and given me this completely irrational fear of snakes in this lifetime. It can be the same with people that are like terrified of the water for no apparent reason, like there's not been any incidences in this current lifetime that they're experiencing and things like that. They may have drowned in a past life. There's all these things that can be easily uncovered and healed and helped for the current incarnation. So a lot of people use the Akashic Records for that. Some people just want to know what their past lives were because it's fun.
Yeah. I can see there's many reasons. You mentioned healing. How do you go about, once you found out, let's say, why you were afraid of snakes, how do you go about healing that then? Or is it just the knowing of why is part of the healing process?
Okay, well, it depends on what went on. Okay, so it's a bit hard to say how to go about the healing because it can change so much just depending on the circumstances. Sometimes just the acknowledgement and the awareness that it's something that's carried over is enough, and the person has no more, doesn't have the issues anymore. If they've made some sort of a vow in that lifetime, like there have been instances where people have a lot of money issues all the time, and no matter what they do, they can't seem to make or hold on to any money. And it can be discovered in the Akashic Records in a previous lifetime that they made a vow of poverty. And that has carried across. So if there's been some sort of a vow made for whatever reason, then we delete that, uncreate it, we delete it, so that break that vow so that it doesn't carry over anymore. So
and that can be done.
That can be done, has been done for many people, and
absolutely,
it's amazing the results that people can achieve.
And I'm also quite, well, more than quite, but very interested in the idea that it's like a wheel, isn't it, of time. There's no, you can go to the future, you can go lives that you haven't had yet. That's quite an amazing, that really does start to blow my mind now.
Time, we see time as a straight line.
Yes, it's not, is it?
Right. And it's not. That's the human version of time.
Time is a human invention, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
exactly. That's exactly it. Time is human. It's not. Yeah, that's so hard to get across and explain that. Yeah, time isn't a thing. It's a thing that we have not as humans.
And the problem is we are governed by time. This is the worst thing about it. Everything is governed by time, and I've found lately that I no longer wear a watch. I refuse to wear a watch now, only because I think, what time is it? Look outside. It's around about midday. I know some people will be saying, but I've got important meetings to have. Yeah, I understand that. But the general concept of we sort of constrain ourselves, both mentally and physically, by this time, this tick-tock of time. But what you're saying is that by accepting the fact that time isn't linear, it's sort of almost circular and never-ending, never stopping, then it does free you a bit, doesn't it? Well, more than a bit.
Yeah, it does. Because it's funny, because nowadays I haven't worn a watch for so long. It's not funny. I will set an alarm in my phone for important things, like jumping on with you tonight, so that I don't.
I'm glad you did that. Thank you for that.
Time. But for everything else, I don't bother. Because like in the things that I've learned and everything, with all this work and everything, we can change and do so much, like manifest so many different things. It's like, from a human perspective, it's just crazy. Like, it can take me, it's approximately 10 minutes to get to the zoo, okay, for me to do a shift, right, from where I live. Now, if I'm running late, I can literally tell myself that there is plenty of time for me to get there, that I'm going to get there in time, there's plenty of time for me to get there, and I will still get there on time. Like, we can do these things. Like, it's as long as we step out of this human perception of time. But yeah,
I've only recently been introduced to this idea of manifestation by Steph and the universe, and it has really changed me in a lot of ways over the last year or so, because Steph's been channeling and all that, and it's just she still picks me up when I feel I hope that happens. She'll really there's no hoping, it will happen. You've got to manifest it and it'll happen. And the times that we've done that, I've done that, and it does lighten the load, is all I can say. It lightens the load a lot. So as Sammy just said, I'm here. Sammy, I'm sorry, I'm not reading any comments. I'm just so fascinated by it all. So interested in the records and what we can tap into with the right guide. I think that's important, isn't it? Is having the right person to use, and someone that's accredited, someone that has been to the training.
Well, I think the training is important because if you don't, if the person isn't trained, then when it comes to bringing you back and doing any actual healing or cutting of vows or anything of that, that's really important. Like, they need to know the technique, because there are these healing models that we get taught, and it's important that people know how to do those properly for them to work for the client. So personally, I do think training and certification is important. You want to have somebody who has that training and that knowledge, so that they can do that for you.
So if anybody wants to find out more about the Akashic Records, just DM you, message you, email you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Your good friends at Colour Art have just said, tell us about the spirit animals. So let's go on. I'm going to say something awful now, because I don't know. What time is it? Because we got to keep this under an hour. What time is it now? Do you know?
is 9:35, so we've been 35 minutes.
Oh, we're okay then. Fine.
We've got
fine. I thought we were talking much longer than that. It just okay. So no, we got plenty of time. Because if it's over now, we can't post it on Instagram. So tell us now. I don't mind if we talk about my journey later on as well. But tell us about your connection with spirit animal guide or spirit guide. This was something that really fascinated me, and I went through a session with you. How did this start?
You did. Okay, so this started. I did my Akashic Record certification, and we're then trained and literally certified to go out and start working with clients straight away in the Akashic Records and everything. And that's all well and good, and I really enjoy that. But I was missing doing my animal painting.
Mm.
And I was discussing with my coach and everything how I could, what do I do? Like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do it all, but there doesn't seem to be enough time in the day and everything. And I was really struggling with how to fit everything together and that. And she came up with the idea, why not just literally do it all together? And that's where it came about. So I use the Akashic Records, and the gardens, in particular, the gardens of the Akashic Records, I find is the nicest place to guide people to meet their spirit animal guide. And once we meet them, I then paint them, and all in a little package deal, ship them off to the paintings, ship them off the painting several weeks later when it's ready. And yeah.
So has everybody got a spirit animal guide or guides plural?
Yes. My hardest one so far, I only got a glimpse of the animal. I could see the animal. They struggled a little, but everybody has seen.
Because some people have spirit guides that are people in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have that as well.
We all do. We have all. Okay. You have angel guides. You have spirit guides. You have animal spirit guides. Like, we are surrounded by so many guides if we want to connect with them and tap in with them.
I think that's a key thing. If we want to, I think that the problem with a lot of people is that because of the modern day society, they're very narrow-minded about things.
Yeah.
And once you start to open up your mind a bit and allow things that you before thought were crazy come in. Just think back 100 years, somebody said we'd be talking on the telephone now, they'd have burned us at the stake for being witches, it's that sort of thing. Once you open yourself up to this, now I did this with you, so I'm going to talk now a little bit about my experience, because it was something that Steph bought me for a present, was to go on a guided tour with you to find my spirit animal guide. And I was really excited, but I was also a little bit of trepidation, because I've never been able to be hypnotized. I'm not saying hypnotist, but when you go to these people, I'm not like that. My brain is always going sense a dozen. It just don't stop. I'm terrible at meditating because I'm just cannot sort of seem to get. But what astounded me was how easy I slipped in, whether it's your lovely voice or the way, but we sat and we did it over Zoom, and within minutes of me sitting there and closing my eyes and listening to you, my brain seemed to change. I seemed to, all the chatter stopped, all the sort of furore that goes on in my head normally just calmed down, and it was this journey literally going up, and I suppose it changes for each person. With me, it was almost nighttime. there was a sort of campfire, and I sat down, and what was amazing was the moment that my spirit animal made a presence, Henry jumped up, didn't he?
He did.
And started,
He did.
which was incredible. So I know that animals
he's very intuitive. Henry is he's really intuitive. It amazes me. In lots of people's sessions, I used to lock him and Cleopatra away because I didn't want them to interfere in the sessions, right? But I gave that up because he would go crazy at the door at certain times.
And they're animals. So this is the thing.
He knows, like he senses when the spirits come in and things like that. So yeah, he's been quite prolific in some people's messages. Yes.
And when I was sat there around this fire, the first thing I saw was the eyes coming through. Whether it wasn't a total picture that I could say over there is that retreat. It was sort of close to me, was quite in focus, but then it sort of went a little bit sort of hazy. But then he started to come through the trees towards me, and you know, it was just believe was the message I got. Believe and hope and a whole feeling of relaxation and trust. That was the feelings that I got, which was amazing. As I said, I've never been one for relaxing and turning my head off and everything, but that was amazing. And the painting you did, it was just exactly what I was visited by when I was with you. And the sessions aren't hugely long. I suppose they can go on for as long as it needs, but it didn't seem to be. It just seemed to be the right amount of time that I spent there with him. There was enough time for me to know then that is my spirit animal guide and always will be with me for the rest of my life. Absolutely. And there's something comforting about knowing that, because I don't know, even if you're in a relationship with somebody, you can sometimes feel spiritually alone sometimes, but then you can connect to these guides just in your head. You don't have to speak out loud to them. So doing that session with you changed a lot for me, and it was amazing. It was. So you must get a lot out of this from doing it with people as well.
Oh yeah, heaps. Like I love it. It lights me up, basically.
So, I see that.
It really lights me up. I love it. It just connects. It connects the three things that I love the most. Okay, it connects animals. It connects helping people, and it connects my love of painting. Doing this work.
Yeah, because you've been the painting bit. Yeah. So really, it's fulfilling for you. It's fulfilling and helpful for everybody else. It's just you're so gifted in many, many ways. I think people just need to open themselves up to this sort of thing. I think more people are now. Again,
it is becoming more well known. Like people are starting to accept these things more. Mac, who is another member of the Bloom.
Yes, Matt's been making comments on here as well, which is wonderful. I must read you a comment from Mac here. She said, I've been guided into the Akashic Record by Cindy many times. Each time is so healing and full of understanding and compassion. And she's also been guided to a spirit animal, which is the pride of lions. Fascinating, so empowering. I would recommend. So, it's lovely to hear that.
Thank you, Mac. Yeah, I was going to say, Mac and I have just recently trained even further in what's called Lightbringer, which is more healing models for energy healing. So now we have even more tools when we come across these past life issues and stuff that actually people do need full-on healing from. we have even more tools to help people with that. And energy healing is becoming more readily accepted.
Yeah. I think particularly over the last couple of years, there's so much going on in the world that's disturbing for us all. It's been a rough 2 or 3 years for everybody. People are now looking for ways of helping themselves, and I say with yourself and people like you and Mac available to do this with. It's great, and I've seen a change in you personally since you started doing this, because I've known you for what, 3 years now, and I think you'd done so few lives before the Blue. In fact, I don't think you'd ever done live before the Blue. And now, you know, it's helping other people, but it's also helping you as well, which is lovely. Yeah, it's great. But we could talk forever.
We could. That's one of the things that I've learned quite profoundly, is that whatever comes through for whoever I'm guiding, there is always a message in it for me as well.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's quite amazing. It's almost like the people that are led to find you, for me to help. There's a reason that those particular people come to me. You know what I mean? Because there's a message for me to learn as well as them.
Yeah, you learn from me as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, it's mind blowing. But anybody who I think you need to listen to this live again, even if you're watching it live now, go through it again, because it does take a little bit of getting into. But if anybody's watching this and wants to find out more about, well, there's so much more about Cindy's paintings, her wonderful art. You also do a YouTube channel, which is an amazing YouTube channel, which is an extension of your art and your process and everything. Well worth watching. You're on Facebook. You're obviously on Instagram. So, you know, there's lots of bits of Cindy that we can grab and use and access, which is amazing. And the fact that you're in Australia is no constraint at all because of the wonders of technology. So all I can do is say thank you, a big, big, big thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, with talking to you. Thank you for staying up and agreeing to change, you know, because I know it's evening time then for you, so you're probably ready for a kip. But what's next in the art world? Anything we should know about? Anything coming up?
Okay. Well, yes. I am doing an art cruise later this year.
Oh, yes, an art cruise. Wow.
End of November, start of December. There is an art cruise that you can join us on. If anybody's interested, myself and my friend Michelle from over here in Australia also, we will be teaching art classes on this cruise. So if you'd like to learn to paint and everything.
Brilliant. And where does the cruise go from to?
It leaves from Brisbane, Australia, and goes across to the islands, so Vanuatu and the little islands around there, and then back to Brisbane. So if anybody's interested in that, we're going to have a ball, just saying. Michelle and I together are a hoot. We've taught many times before together. So
it sounds great. It sounds brilliant. So not only beautiful scenery, but chance to learn how to paint. And is it for experienced artists or just starting?
No, anybody. Anybody. The way I teach, and Michelle's much the same, I think that's why we get on so well. We make sure that everything is explained. So if you've never picked up a paintbrush before, to somebody who's been painting for ages, you will learn from us regardless. And yeah.
Well, we've certainly learned a lot today, Cindy. Thank you so much, my darling. Give my regards to Bill.
Welcome. Thank you. Yes, I will.
Speak to you again soon. Take care. Yes. Oh,
Bye,
yeah.
everybody.
Everybody just sometimes can watch it all again on
Yep.
replay, which I'll put up in a short
Yeah.
while. Thank you, Cindy. Take care, my darling.
Bye.
All the best. You're going to have to click yourself off. Or
Oh,
as
do
our
I?
friend Sammy
Okay.
would say, you've got to flick yourself
This
off.
This
There's
is
an X.
where I'll look silly because I never know which buttons to press.
Okay, I think you'll find a little X in the top of your screen.
I-
Instagram removed it from the other button, from the other part of the screen. So I can't, not as I want to get rid of you, but I can't
Sure.
remove you nicely from the live. Cheerio. Bye bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you, everybody, for
Bye
joining us. Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Wow, that was mind-blowing, wasn't it? What a fantastic interview. I had so much fun doing that. I had so much fun. And I've spoken to Cindy before, but it's lovely to speak to someone that you know at great length and just focus on and the many, many talents that they've got. And Cindy has got many, many talents. The art, her story, the Akashic Records, the spirit animals, wonderful. And the amazing thing is, as you could see while talking to it all links together. It's not sort of separate things. She's managed to draw it all together, and one bit affects the other. Her paintings and the animals, it all affects one another to bring together everything. And I think she's found her true vocation in life there, which is lovely. So if you can grab a piece of it in whatever way you want, whether it's the Akashic Records, find out more about that, Spirit Animal Guides. And I can definitely recommend, if you're interested in that sort of thing and you want to pursue it, get a session booked in with Cindy. You will not regret it. It'll be the most amazing half an hour, how long it takes. It's just amazing. It really is. So that's it, folks. So I'm exhausted, but in a nice way. It's lovely because there's a lot going through my head that I didn't know that I now know. And I'm going to have to pursue this Akashic Records a bit further because it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And don't forget, get rid of your watch. You don't need it. You don't need it. Well, I'm going to go now. I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're joining me on the live, then thank you. If you're joining me on replay, thank you for stopping by and watching this on replay. Back to our normal time of 5 p.m. UK time next Sunday. I'm not sure if I've got a guest or not, because everything's in a bit of upheaval at the moment, but whatever, I'll come on for a chat, I will, just because I've got nothing better to do. No, I have. I will love to chat to you all next Sunday. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Stay out of the sun if it's very sunny. Stay out of the cold if you're in Australia. If God's willing and the creeks don't rise, I'll see you again next Sunday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.